Okay, so let's get right into it. Picture this. You take 50 of the biggest content creators on the entire planet and stick them inside one giant cube. The goal? Be the very last one standing to win a massive prize for your subscribers. I mean, this isn't just a competition. It's a wild social experiment with some seriously high stakes. That's right, 50 of them. We are talking about a room absolutely packed with huge personalities, right? Every single one of them has their own strategy, their own loyalties, and, this unbreakable desire to win. The potential for absolute chaos is just off the charts. And just think about the sheer scale of influence we're talking about in that one cube. You combine all 50 of those creators, and they represent over 1 billion subscribers. An audience that huge has never, ever been brought together for a single competition like this before. And this right here is what it's all about. A $1 million grand prize. But here is the real kicker. The money isn't for them. It's for their subscribers, which just adds this whole new layer of pressure and motivation to every single decision they make. Mr. Beast himself set the tone perfectly with this. It all started out with friendships and everyone laughing, but everybody in that room knew that just beneath the surface, a ruthless, cutthroat game was about to go down. Friendships were going to be tested, and drama was absolutely 100% guaranteed. So, the competition didn't waste any time at all. It kicked off immediately with a series of high-risk, high-reward challenges that forced these creators to gamble their entire game right from the very beginning. The first test, a simple basketball free throw. But the dilemma was brutal. If you miss the shot, a random subscriber wins a brand new Cybertruck. But if you miss, your game is over. Just like that, instantly. So what do? Do you risk it all for a fan? And the results were swift and totally unforgiving. Tech genius Mark Rober, he stepped up first, and he missed. Gideon was right after him and also missed, but then the basketball YouTuber Jesser, he sinks his shot, and FaZe Rug follows up and sinks his too. The risk was so real, but so was the reward, and it just went to show that nobody, no matter how big their channel was safe. Okay, so with the field already getting a little smaller, the next phase of the competition just completely shifted gears. It moved away from that individual risk and plunged headfirst into group dynamics, forcing alliances and, setting the stage for some serious betrayal. So this second challenge, it probably looked pretty simple, kind of echoing that famous test from Squid Game. Contestants had to form teams of 5, pick a captain, and that captain got immunity. Then, the captain would assign one of 4 cookie shapes to each of their teammates to carve out. Sounds straightforward, right? Well, here was the cruel twist. The captains, they didn't even compete. Instead, they were forced to choose which of their own teammates would get the nearly impossible umbrella-shaped cookie, which was basically deciding who to sacrifice. The reward of immunity came at the cost of betraying their own team. Next up was a challenge that pretty much weaponized friendship itself. The contestants were told to partner up, and naturally, everybody chose their closest friends in the cube. Then came the reveal. They wouldn't be working together. Nope, they'd be facing each other head-to-head in a game of giant Jenga. And the tension just completely boiled over in one specific match. After this intense hour-and-a-half-long game, KSI's tower finally fell. But instead of just accepting defeat, he physically picked up his opponent and friend, AJ Shabil, and carried him out of the game zone with him. The move was so wild that the other contestants actually had to vote on whether it was fair. They voted no, and AJ was allowed back in. Just insane. The game just kept evolving. The next set of challenges, they moved into pure psychological warfare, testing everyone's ability to deceive, to read their opponents, and to adapt to completely unexpected stuff. It was time for a fan favorite, the briefcase game. Here's how it works. One player looks inside a case that either says safe or eliminated. Then their opponent has to decide, do you trust them and let them keep the case, or do you steal it? It is a pure game of bluffing. And the psychological toll here was just immense. I mean, in this one standout moment, Valkyrae opened an eliminated case, but put on such a convincing, tearful performance that her opponent stole it from her, getting him self-eliminated. Her acting was so good, another contestant was just left stunned, calling her a demon. The emotional stakes were just sky high, and the competition continued to keep them completely off balance. So for the next challenge, the 10 remaining contestants were blindfolded and paired up. When the blindfolds came off, they were standing in a fully functional kitchen. Their task? Cook a meal for a panel of celebrity judges: Miranda Cosgrove, competitive eating legend Joey Chestnut, and iShow Speed. So, after the cooking challenge, only 5 remained. This was it, the final showdown. At this point, every last bit of physical and emotional endurance was gone, and only one thing mattered: your ability to outwit and outdeceive everyone else in that room. And for these final 5, the stakes were incredibly personal. Each of them had a very specific plan for that $1 million. From building schools in Morocco, to funding art degrees, to donating meals, these were real tangible goals that added this immense weight to the final outcome. The final challenge was just a masterclass in deception. See, one of 5 briefcases held the $1 million check. The players had to talk, try to figure things out, and then vote to eliminate one person. If they voted out someone with an empty case, the game would continue. But if they voted out the person with the money, that person won, instantly. And in the very first round, Jaden Animations made this bold, totally shocking claim. She looked her competitors right in the eye and stated flatly, "I have the million." It was such a risky move. Was it a double bluff, a desperate attempt to survive? I mean, it immediately put this massive target on her back. So when all was said and done, the winner was Jaden Animations. After a super tense series of votes, that initial bold claim proved to be the ultimate reverse psychology. In the final moment, she masterfully convinced the remaining players that she couldn't possibly have the money, and that secured her the win. You know, this whole competition was just a fascinating look at strategy, psychology, and human nature under extreme pressure, which kind of brings us to the final question. If you were in that cube, in a game that's all about trust and betrayal, what would your strategy be? Would you lie from the start, try to play with honor, or just do your best to stay invisible?